Good day, viewers. You are welcome once again to your favorite program, The Conversation, coming to you from TV360 here in Lagos, Nigeria. My name is Nelson Ekujumi, and I have with me in the studio today on The Conversation, Comrade Gbenga Soliki, popularly called OGS, the only authentic Otumba in the civil society struggle. Comrade Soliki, you are welcome.
Good morning, my brother. How are you doing?
I'm good. And you're
Glad
welcome.
to see you after the strike.
Honestly, I didn't find the strike funny because I felt that my right to electricity was impeded. And for me, that's an issue one will have to take up with regards to sending a bill sending a letter to my representative in the House of Reps that I want to raise a petition. We want to know those areas of our national life that people who are on strike can tamper with. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome once again to the program, The Conversation, coming to you from TV360 here in Lagos, Nigeria. We are starting with the first in a series of topics. And the first on our topic today is aftermath of the labor strike. What next? We recognize that 48 hours ago, the Nigerian Labour Congress and the TUC, its partner, embarked on an indefinite strike, which resulted in the shutting down of the national grid, as well as we saw assaults and molestation of workers at workplace. We saw travelers, the airports were blocked, aeroplanes were not allowed to take off and land. Passengers were barred from embarking on their business or whatever rights that the law, because it's only the court of law that can bar the movement of an individual. No other agency or person has the power. So for me, just like I was saying, I saw this as an affront on the Constitution, because I recognize that under the law, if workers are on strike, there are certain critical sectors of the economy that are excluded from industrial action. And I'm sure essential services also fall into that regard. We have seen pictorials as well as we have heard evidences of people who were driven out of hospitals. So for me, I think this is absurd. This is not the way to go. It is condemnable. And that, just like I told you, I'm thinking of putting up a letter to my representatives who represent me in the House of Reps, that look, the National Assembly have to come up with a law with regards to where your rights end. Because if the Constitution of Nigeria has given me that right to move, freedom of movement, somebody cannot say because he or she is aggrieved with employer or employee and you now infringe on my own right. I want the courts to explain to me whether my right stops where another man's right begins, or another man's right can infringe on my right without repercussion. And I don't think that is the way to go in any society.
It is not only absurd, it is irresponsible. I want to start by saying that the Labour had not acted properly. And then, like I mentioned the other time I was there, we have a Labour that is highly politicized. Because if the Labour, there should be sharp difference between the Labour Party, which is a vehicle for political movements, then the Nigerian Labour Congress that is saddled with the responsibility of advancing the interests of Nigerian workers. There are two different entities.
Yes.
But when you merge the two together, that's what we have. Because recently, the national president of the Nigerian Labour Congress was at loggerheads with leadership of the Labour Party. They are not supposed to be that as it may. Well, let us look at the strike. Number one, the federal government must commend them for being receptive to discussions. Discussions were going on, and the federal government had not abandoned the discussion table before you gave ultimatum, before you pulled out. No, it's not done anywhere. You should exhaust discussion, because we're talking about a people that should be plans for everything. If you're asking for social amounts, government knows what it has budgeted for payment of salaries this year. I mean, how do we juggle it? All those things will be looked into. So you will have allowed government to also do their own, I mean, their own understanding of what has happened. But you didn't allow them to do that. You pulled out. You not only pulled out, you even announced a date of resumption of strike. Unfortunately, I could remember last year there was an order of a court that stopped you from embarking on strike furthermore, which is also illegal. That's why I'm saying it is illegal. So now look at the strike in itself. Yes, you called strike. Some. I mean, the organized labor pulled out. Said no. We agree with federal government.
Organized private sector.
They pulled out. But the man DG come and say yes, we pulled out. So how many people do you have on ground to embark upon the strike? Nobody. You said okay, you are leading labor, no problem. What is the numerical strength of the Nigerian Labour Congress that you now want to force minority on majority? We're saying that we have about 200 million Nigerians. And I'm very convinced, according to the figure supplied by the Minister of Information, he said just about 1.2. How will you force yourself or your opinion on us? Meanwhile, we are not talking about better life for us. We're not talking about improvement on electricity. Even as of today, the electricity tariff had been jacked up. You were not concerned about that. We're just concerned about the rights or the remuneration of a very minute number of people. No, that's not labor. Labor should be concerned about the well-being of the majority of the people of Nigeria.
Comrade Soloki, you know, for me, I've always said it. This issue of worker salary, those factors that affects the salaries, I believe any responsible labor should be looking at. Today, as we speak, the food inflation, the cost of food is on the high side. Why is labor not saying, oh, government, we have set up a labor farm in Sokoto, maybe 30 hectares?
Don't even just bring out ideas to change the narratives.
No, let's assume.
No, don't even let us go there. Let's even say, okay, as a movement, because labor is a movement. So look, we have sat down, we have X-ray, we have researched, Mr. President, or the federal government. These are the ideas we are looking at that we feel that should move this country forward. You should be partners in progress with government, not antagonistic. If truly you are patriotic about what you're doing.
They are not. They take patriotism. And you know the painful part for me is that as we speak, the 2019 minimum wage law of 30,000, a lot of people have this.
Even Abia State, that is Labour Party state, has not complied.
And this is a law that has been in place since 2019, 5 years ago.
5 years ago. And you are not going about to pocket those states to insist that they must implement
that law.
So what are we talking about?
So somebody that cannot pay 30,000, that is still paying, some are still paying less than 15,000. You are not talking about 400 and is it 64 or 90?
494.
494. And even as at that, how do you ensure that you pressurize the government to ensure that those stakeholders who are reneging on, who have broken, because it's a violation of the law.
Yes,
not paying that 30,000. Yes.
I mean, the labor should have even gone ahead to picket those states, to even meet with the leadership of the states, to governors and say, okay, why are you not paying?
Why are you not paying?
If that fails, you can embark on court action to say, okay,
yes,
please
help us interpret the law. Maybe we don't know what the law says.
Or help us compel the states to be paying. You have not done that. You are not talking about 494,000. That is unsustainable. That is impossible. That means you want to throw Nigeria into hyperinflation. Because there will be so much money, and to the extent that you will have few goods running after the money. So at the end of the day, what are we talking about?
The non-formal sector, who are not part of the labor movement, they are about 90% of our population.
Yes.
Labor is less than 5%.
Less than 3%.
So even though we don't begrudge them, no matter their number,
yes,
they must also, their welfare must be permanent. But what we are saying here is that you can't, because of your disagreement with your employer, and don't forget, the salaries and wages we are talking about will not be paid by only the federal government.
Of course.
We are looking at the states as well as the private sector. So if you have gone to a negotiation table, and like the minister said, I watched the minister for labor. She said 4 times they walk out of the meetings. So from their actions, you can. We just had lights in my residence just this morning. In the last 48 hours, I've been running on petrol and diesel. So who pays me for that economic loss? I can imagine a lot of businesses that are going through hard times. Look at what they have done to them. I can imagine cold rooms, yes, where you sell frozen foods and what have you. Yes. You talk about hospitality business. You talk about industries. You talk about homes. Yeah. You talk about the one man
look at the blockage of the airports.
Even look at the seaports.
This is unfair. It's unfair. People will have scheduled business meetings outside the country, within the country. You are prevented them from embark. How do you now pay them back?
And again, Comrade Sholoki.
Sorry, you are an economy that is fragile, that we're complaining about, that is not healthy. You are also running it down. How patriotic is that going to be?
Comrade Sholoki, is it right for me to go to an hospital or to a place of work, and some people, because they are on strike and they molest and assault?
It is unfair. It's unfair. It is callous. How will you go to a hospital or a medical facility to go and chase doctors out, chase patients, chase nurses out? No, it's unfair. Anywhere in the world where there are protests, some areas are excluded. Some essential services are excluded from being picketed.
Well, this is a matter that will not end here.
No, it's not going to end here.
We are going because
some of us will have to engage them, yes, in the court of law.
Yes,
so that the court will tell us what has happened.
Yes.
Have they done well?
Because as a Nigerian, I'm aware that I have certain rights, and I will never, under any guise, allow anybody or group to trample on that right.
No.
I will not.
It's not possible.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is where we want to call it a wrap on the first stanza of the program. We'll go on a short break. The conversation coming to you from TV360. We'll be right back. Please stay tuned. Continue to watch the conversation coming to you from TV360 here in Lagos, Nigeria. We'll be right back.